Some old bits and pieces in the workshop. One day last year while I was out metal detecting, I met a complete stranger who recognised me from my rare appearances in the YouTube videos. Today he came to visit and these are what he gave me. This is a very old Mammoth steam engine in extremely bad condition. As an indication of just how bad this engine is, the main base plate is supposed to be red. But nevertheless, I couldn't wait to see whether it actually still ran. Before pumping some compressed air into the boiler, I thought it would be a good idea to oil the parts: the crankshaft, the crank pin, the piston and the cylinder port faces. I applied some oil to the outside of the cylinder, then pulled the cylinder away from the block so the oil ran down to where it was going to be needed. On the boiler, the level indicator hole is plugged up with a random old bolt, and what was once an O-ring on the safety valve has long since perished and fallen to bits. Apart from being rusty, this engine is really dirty. It's sat for many years in a very dark corner of a shed. I can't say that I've ever seen a Mammoth steam engine in a condition as bad as this, but when I apply about 15 pounds per square inch of compressed air to it, this is what happens. Surprisingly, it ran quite well. Here I'm dusting off all the spider webs and bits of dead insects and flakes of rust, because what I'm going to do with this and the other thing I'm going to show you very shortly is put them in my ultrasonic cleaner. Before anyone writes in, no, I am not going to rebuild this. Now the engine's a bit cleaner, I'll run it one more time. The man who came to visit me, whose name by the way is Chris, also gave me this. It's a Mammoth TE1A steam tractor. The later one with the reversing lever. As you can see, the chimney's loose and there's nothing holding the canopy to the chimney, and the canopy is fairly grim really. There must be thousands of these things in a similar condition in sheds and garages all over the world. This one has been modified. There isn't a bush at the back, just a hole, with quite a large steel bolt roughly pushed into the hole. And the safety valve is quite novel. It's a bolt with a nut on the end of it. Health and safety warning: whatever you do, do not use a nut and bolt in place of a safety valve. A safety valve is a pressure relief valve, and the idea is if the pressure in the boiler gets too high, it opens and lets the steam out. Fitting a bolt like this is very foolish, and it's a little bit like fitting a steel bolt in place of a fuse in a plug. Like the other Mammoth stationary engine, this one is really dirty. So once again, I lubricate the essential parts: the crankshaft, the crank pin, the piston and the cylinder block. After which I move the cylinder away from the port block so that the oil can run down and lubricate both surfaces. Even though both of these engines are in a terrible condition, I don't want to make matters worse by scoring the port faces. I think it's time to take this steel bolt out and throw it away. I was surprised to find that there was still some water in the boiler. Here it is dribbling out onto the bench. And even more surprisingly, it's very clean water. There's a bit of a problem on the boiler's backhead. There isn't a bush. And if I was going to rebuild this engine, which I am definitely not, the first thing I would have to do is fit a new boiler bush. The good news is, though, my airline fits in the hole perfectly, so I can inject some compressed air into the boiler to see whether it goes. Once again, I apply about 15 pounds per square inch to the boiler and off it goes. The whistle works too, which was a surprise. I noticed on one of the front wheels, this stuff, it's blue tack, so at some stage the engine's been stuck onto a bench to stop it falling off. Here I'm removing it with a Stanley knife. There's also some on one of the back wheels, so I remove that too. It's looking better already. The next item that Chris gave me was quite a surprise. It's a manually operated 2-speed drill press. Getting one of these was a very strange coincidence. I watched a TV programme a couple of weeks back where they renovate old things that they find in sheds. And one of the items they were renovating was one of these. To be honest, I've often wondered how they work, and now I have one of my very own. I'm going to make a video about it. In this video though, I'm only really concerned with the Mammoth steam engines. This stuff is called carbusonic, and it's a liquid that you add to an ultrasonic cleaner and it cleans carburetors. And it's really good for cleaning aluminium. It doesn't dissolve the aluminium, but it really removes the dirt. But I want to remove rust. I found the best way to use this ultrasonic cleaner is to pre-fill it with very hot water. I have the drain tap open to let the water out. Once the outside of the tank gets warm, I close the tap. Then I fill it right to the top with more hot water and add some of this stuff. This stuff seems to be very good at removing rust. A while back I used the ultrasonic cleaner with this liquid to de-rust an old 4-jaw chuck, and it worked very well. But I must mention that the rust on the 4-jaw chuck was only surface rust. The depth of rust on these Mammoth steam engines is a lot more than surface rust. This is the 15-litre model of this ultrasonic cleaner, and the heater is worse than useless. It only just keeps the water at the temperature it is when I first put it in. The water temperature started off at 60 degrees. It's time now to put the first of the Mammoth steam engines into the mixture. At this stage I'm not sure what this corrosive Allendale Ultrasonics liquid is going to do to the aluminium alloy parts. And that's why it's really good to be able to do this with engines that are in such bad condition. As you can hear, I've switched on the machine. This is definitely the noise it's supposed to make, and yes, I know that is not ultrasonic because we can all hear it, but I think it's the ultrasonic frequency in the liquid that does the cleaning. I'm just helping the cleaning process along with this old pastry brush. This is what the engine looked like before I put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and this is what it looked like after half an hour of ultrasonic cleaning. Still pretty grim, but nowhere near as bad as it was in the previous image. Now it's time to put the steam tractor in the basket and introduce that to the ultrasonic cleaner. It was too big to fully submerge, so I had to turn it over a couple of times. I put the canopy in the basket with the small Mammoth stationary engine. That fitted okay. And here once again is the very exciting shot of the ultrasonic cleaner ultrasonically cleaning. After half an hour of this, I removed the traction engine and emptied the cleaner. Then I refilled it with some clean water and some more of the Allendale liquid and repeated the process. I topped up the tank to cover a bit more of the steel parts. Here you can see that the water temperature has dropped and the ultrasonic timer is counting down from 30 minutes. Now that the liquid is a good bit cleaner, you can see what's happening. It's really attacking the aluminium alloy of the flywheel. Look at all the bubbles coming off it. And similarly with the steam tractor in the mixture, you can clearly see lots of bubbles coming from the rear wheels. This is not good. It may be removing the rust, but it's dissolving the wheels. In this close-up you can see that the reaction is very vigorous. My recommendation therefore is do not under any circumstances use this type of ultrasonic cleaning liquid if you're going to be using alloy parts. Here's a before shot that you've seen before, and here is the after shot once I removed the engine from the mixture for a second time. There's definitely an improvement, but the base is still quite rusty, and the alloy flywheel has turned a funny colour. Here's a before shot for the steam tractor, and here's the after shot. I have to say at this point, if you're thinking about using an ultrasonic cleaner with this particular liquid, remove all of the alloy and brass parts first. In my workshop I have a bottle of some stuff called Evapo Rust that quite a lot of viewers recommended, and this is amazing stuff. It doesn't need to be put in an ultrasonic cleaner, you just apply it and leave it. I might try some Evapo Rust on the steel parts of the stationary engine. But that will be it. I'm not going to rebuild these engines at all. This has just been an interesting experiment to show me what happens to the alloy parts in a liquid designed to remove rust. I would like to say a big thank you to the man called Chris who gave me these items, especially the drill. And that concludes the episode. Stay well, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. and by doing that you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists you can actually watch the videos back to back.